online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Press the blue button that says follow and get our
Latifah, and you're watching CTV on the Higher Learning Network. Check out.
To all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, United Broken Families with Naimah and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-60.
We love you on Windy City Live. Yes, we do. Tell us, how did all this happen? How did this come about?
Well, I play me. I play Val Warner in Chirac, which is really cool. So when people see this movie, they are literally seeing Val, and I am a reporter in the movie.
We talk about the violence, but what can we do personally?
I think we got to be engaged, and I think engaged in a number of things. In our block, in our home, in our neighborhood, we got to be engaged. We got to fight the issues. We got to fight a government that is abandoned, whole communities on the south and the west side. We got to fight a governor who's cut out every youth employment program, who's cut out violence prevention programs, who's abandoned our communities and the poor and the vulnerable. And I think we got to reach out to our brothers on the street and love them and respect them and help them, not just demonize them.
I'll just say like this. First of all, give you the history of coming to Chicago and telling my jokes as a young cat. I'm 37 now. I started about almost 15 years ago. Elroy taking me under his wing, letting me do some jokes here and there for the radio stations and all that kind of stuff.
I learned that no matter
For joining us this morning on the Female Solution. Wow. There's a lot going on this morning. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Grand Rising. It is Monday, October 23rd. October is almost over with. It'll be November and then December, and it's going to be super cold, and we'll just learn how to deal with it, right? We're in Chicago. We should be used to it by now. Today is Monday, October 23rd. Happy Earth Day, birthday, born day. If you're celebrating a birthday, we're celebrating here with you. As we are always here just to start your week off with the mindfulness stress release session. Yeah, it's coming up at 7:15. So get ready, call somebody, text somebody and let them know we're going to teach you how to release some stress today. Let us always keep in prayer the sick and the shut in, those who are in need. And Lord, the war that's going on in this world is already happening. And the biggest war is the war within, is to keep peace. The leaders of this country say that peace, war is a good thing. No, it's not, because you're killing people. So I don't agree with that. But that's just my opinion. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I want to send a shout out to my girl, Dr. Marsha Noble of Jazz and You, the Educational Foundation, in which she has not a tournament, but a gathering, a social gathering every third Saturday of the month at Ellis Park on 35th and Cottage Grove. Be it whisk, chess, and stepping and bopping. All I could do was be it whisk, but you can go on my other channels to see it on YouTube. Higher Learning TV show. It's there. So be sure and go check that out. Today's topic. Did I say happy birthday? No, I didn't. Happy birthday, born day if you're celebrating a birthday, and happy birthday to my big sister, Vivian Bradley, aka Creasy. She's in her, I think she turned 78 on Wednesday. It's the 23rd. Yeah, yeah, on Wednesday. So it'll be 80, not, what did I say? 70, 78. She'll be 78. Yeah, 78 years young. So happy birthday, sis. Happy birthday, born day. And happy birthday, born day. If you're celebrating a birthday too. Excuse me. And thank you very much for reminding me to turn my audio. If you are watching online, let us know what city, state, or country that you're watching us from. And if you'd like to call in after the 7:30 break, you can do that. And I'll give you that number later. But right now, you can watch us on our social media channels on Facebook and YouTube. And that is the Higher Learning TV show. Both of those. And be sure and check out my Instagram channel. Actually, it's not my channel, but it is the channel that we use. Well, I guess it is my channel. It's the channel that we use to showcase the work that we're doing in the community for the homeless. And I will pull that up for you shortly. But right now, I just want to remind you to set those DVRs for Tuesdays at 6, Wednesdays at 1 on Channel 19 to see the Higher Learning Network TV show. And you can always see it online 24/7 at Higher Learning TV show on Facebook and YouTube. If you are headed out and about today, just know that it's Monday and know that it is quite hectic outside because everybody's in a rush to get somewhere on a Monday morning. We call that Monday morning madness. Because the time that you spend in traffic, I know this sounds crazy, but you could very well be listening to something soothing. How can you do that in the midst of the madness on the expressway? Well, you just have to get quiet and trust that you'll be where you need to be when you need to be there. It's just that simple. And if you don't believe it, then you probably won't be there. So, but I'll show you something very shortly. But right now, it is time for your traffic report, which is sponsored by Karen Kelly of itex.com. If you are an owner, entrepreneur, a business owner, and you have products or services to offer the community, why? Okay. You can join itex.com by simply becoming a member, and you get a $100 gift certificate, I guess you could call it that, where you can go shopping immediately. So you do not have to worry about spending any money your first go round. How cool is that? So that's all you have to do. And that's itex.com. And be sure and tell them that Karen Kelly sent you. Right about now, let's check out this crazy traffic. You're looking to go to Jamaica, so if you can go anywhere, Jamaica, Hawaii, Vegas, Mexico, wherever you want to go, and Greece. Everybody's trying to go to Greece, so well, because it's such a beautiful country. So that's available for you too. So as we take a look at Metro and CTA, there are no reported delays, but on the Kennedy inbound is another story, honey. 40 minutes in, 30 minutes on the reverse. On the Eaton's, 25 minutes in, 19 out. That earlier accident has been cleared up. On the Eisenhower, it's 38 minutes in. There's an accident at Costner Avenue, and it's 24 minutes on the outbound. On the Stevenson, it's a whole other show. It's over an hour getting in and 30 minutes out due to an accident. It's closed at Central Avenue to California. The state police are there. On the Dan Ryan, there's an accident at Roosevelt, so it's 41 minutes inbound, 21 out. and on the Bishop Ford, 11 in, 9 out, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive. It is 10 minutes in and 9 minutes out. And that's your traffic and weather, sponsored by Karen Kelly of itex.com. And if you are ready for your Monday morning mindfulness meditation, we begin the meditation with a powerful affirmation, prayer, I would like to say. And that comes from Brother Mike House. And Brother Mike House is a fellow journalist that shares his spiritual side. And so that is something that I want to share with you right after this quick message. Are you stressed out? Are you ready to learn some quick techniques on how to de-stress immediately? Does it want to play? Are you stressed out? Are you ready to learn some quick techniques on how to de-stress immediately? Then book your free 30-minute consultation with Zelda Speaks, the Mindfulness Stress Relief Coach, at higherlearningnetwork.org. Thanks for sharing. Your inspiration for the day comes from Mike House, and it's called Mind Sound Check. You know, we have a sound check with audio equipment. We need a mind sound check too. It is time to do a mind sound check to determine if you are operating more under a digital mindset. Check your awakening and daily moments. Do you wake up looking for your devices, or do you start your day in prayer, meditation, and or silent time? Let's examine a full day and watch how we go about our day using devices. We give thanks for the internet and its speed in providing us with important, accurate, and timely information. However, we must remember that the internet is not our source of truth. God is our source of truth. All truth is information. All truth information is accurate all the time and anytime. We are connected to our source by way of interconnection through prayer, meditation, and the practice of being in silence. The practice of being in silence. Check your mind today and discover how grounded you are in God as the source of all things and truth information. Let the same mind be in you that was in Christ, who though he existed in the form of God. And that's from Philippians 2, 5, and 6. And that is your Monday morning mindfulness inspiration from Brother Mike House. And we thank you for joining us this morning and preparing for your Monday morning mindful meditation. So you know what that means, right? Yep. It is time for you to sit back and relax and begin the process with me of stress relief. And we're simply going to breathe in and breathe out. And as you're breathing in and breathing out, you're going to be breathing through the nose. One side of the nose, and exhale. However you breathe, just as long as you're breathing. But the point is, you have to take long, deep breaths, okay? Alrighty. So let us begin the process of breathing in and breathing out. and have a little nature sounds moving in the background. Do you want to play or do you want to stay? I guess it wants to stay. Here you go. All righty. So sit up straight in your chair, feet flat on the floor, nothing in your hands, nothing in your heart, but nothing but that of love and peace. Because we're on a journey to peace. Because the world wants to go to war. We need peace. How about you? All right. Grand Rising, thank you for closing your eyes. You should not be looking at me, but the inside of your eyelids. As you breathe in through the nose, taking a deep breath, feeling that chest expand, and blow it out. And the purpose of this exercise is to de-stress you in times of chaos and confusion. So you just can't watch me. We got to do it together. So let's breathe in. Hold it. And exhale, blow it out. And if you breathe deep enough, you will feel that sensation immediately. You can't get it anywhere else but through the breath. You try, but you can't get it anywhere else because it was made from the essence of you. Your breath is what keeps you here. So let's breathe in and hold it and breathe out. And continue breathing in, breathing out. Doesn't matter if we're breathing together or not, as long as you're breathing. Because these long, deep inhales strengthen the immune system, strengthens the mind, and strengthens your body as we breathe in and as we breathe out. You see, the breath is the carrier that keeps us in the planet. And when we're breathing deep enough, things don't affect us as they ordinarily would because we are mastering the art of our emotions, because it is the emotions that we have that give us issues in our tissues. And that's why we're talking about transforming triggers today, because last week I talked about my cotton picking experience and how that was a trigger for me. Well, that's no longer a trigger because I recognize that's what it is. As we breathe in and as we breathe out. And the purpose of this breath is to remind us that there's greatness in us and that we have the power to control our circumstances within, not out there, within. And from time to time, you will hear this sound. And that's simple, a reminder to focus on the breath, because your mind's going to wander on all the things you got to do today and all your responsibilities, but this is your time. Let me hear you say, this is my time. What? Let me hear you say again. Okay, say it like it. This is what? This is my time. As we breathe in, hold it, and as we breathe out. As we get that body circulating and percolating this morning, let's rotate those shoulders backwards and forwards and bring those arms up and stretch. And stretch and move as we are waking the inner organs up, the heart, liver, lungs, spleen, spine, the digestive tract, the elimination tract. Oh, yes, honey, breathe it in. And hold it and blow it out. Once more, breathe it in. And breathe it out. As you continue breathing in and breathing out on your own, giving thanks for the power of the breath, as we take this finger right here, stick it in the top of the ear, not in the hole, but in the top of the ear, you're stimulating the vagus nerves, which controls a little stress relief. Yeah, just love on it. It feels funny to stick your hand in there, don't it? Especially if you've never done it before. The vagus nerve is there in the ear. So you can maintain some stress as you continue to breathe in and breathe out. You can also take these two fingers and rub the back of your neck. Grab the neck. That vagus nerve run down. It runs all through the body. So just massage yourself. Give yourself some love this morning. We're always trying to give everybody else some love. Give self-love this morning as we breathe in And as we breathe out, once more this time, let us breathe in. Bringing the energy of the breath up through the forehead, down through the face and the chin, and relaxing on those shoulders as we breathe in. And as we breathe out, sending more love, light, and energy down through the chest, the solar plexus, and the sides, and the hips, and down through the back and the buttocks. As we breathe in, continue to breathe in and breathe out, giving thanks for the power of the breath, because a body in motion stays in motion. That's why we want to move as much as we possibly can. That's why we breathe in and breathe out, sending more love, light, and energy down through the thighs and the knees. Yes, love those glorious knees, or whatever part of your body is talking to you this morning, and sending more love and light and energy down through the legs and the ankles. Just greeting every part of the body this morning, letting it know that you love it and you appreciate it, because it's just this cause is working as we breathe in. And as we breathe out, sending more love, light, and energy down through the ankles and the arches and the instep and the toes. Yes, wiggle those toes. Bringing more love, light, and energy back up through the toes and the feet. See, when you wiggle the toes, it makes you smile. As we breathe in, hold it. And as we breathe out, as we breathe in, bringing the energy from the legs back up to the knees and the thighs and the hips and the buttock and the back, as we continue with the higher learning hip roll. Thanks for the energy that flows up through the body, through the chest and the arms and solar plexus and the neck. And as we breathe in, bringing the energy back up from the face to the top of the head, and we give thanks for the power of the breath. As we give thanks, knowing that someone somewhere may be on a respirator, have COPD, asthma, or any respiratory diseases, and they can't breathe without the help of some type of apparatus. And look at you, breathing all on your own. Is that enough to be grateful for alone? Yes. As we breathe in, hold it, and exhale. And just sit with this breath as you focus on the breath, knowing that you're at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. Taking care of self first before we even attempt to take care of others. Because as women, we have a tendency to put ourselves last. And today we're not doing that anymore. It's me first. On the airplane, they tell you put your mask on before you try to put somebody else's on. That's right. Put your mask on. Put your breath on. And remember, when somebody comes into your space and their temper is out of hand, you do not react. You respond. With what? Your breath. How do you do that? You inhale. And they're going to look at you like you done lost your last mind, and you blow it out. That's right, blow it in their face. And if you got a little funk on your breath, like some onions or some garlic, or you forgot to brush your teeth, baby, bye. They will leave you, I promise you. You'll step back anyway. And what that does is allows you the opportunity to gather yourself, to not respond to their drama, but to gather the power, to connect with that power that is within you, that nobody can break unless you allow them to. And the breath is what keeps you centered. Remember that. And that is your Monday morning mindfulness meditation. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed the practice that you can practice anywhere, anytime, because it will keep you in times of chaos and confusion. And that's what we want to do. We want to not be confused when people come into our space, try to throw us off. And that is something that you can share with others. And I invite you to practice this whenever you're stressed. As a matter of fact, practice it when you're not stressed because you'll feel a difference. And then how you will feel, when you're not stressed. So notice the sensations in your body. If you are not in touch with those sensations, they grow up. You grow up and you have issues. We have issues. It's called issues in our tissues. And that's something that shows up as addictions, as what's the word? Trauma, triggers. Because last week we talked about the fact that I was triggered in a conversation where they were talking about chopping cotton. And I will be joined by executive producer Naimah Latif coming up shortly. And I had to stop myself and ask myself the question, what was going on in me that triggered me? And I thought about how when I was 10, 11, somewhere around the year, I thought about how I was treated very badly. And that thought I grew up with, it never left me. It was embedded in the tissues in my body. So therefore, anytime somebody said something, especially chopping cotton, my mind went there. But this time, I didn't go there. I didn't react. I responded. And the difference is reacting is like you're a knee jerk. You just respond. But react. But I responded by not reacting. And that is the challenge. So I didn't react, but I thought about it. And then I let the conversation continue. And then I told Naimah that that's what was happening with me. And she's like, "Oh, we do a show on that." And I was like, "Oh, I guess I will." Especially since my prior guest had an emergency. She had to cancel. So that took care of that. So it's like, wow, ooh, I get a chance to do this. All right. So that's exactly what I am going to do. So that's what we're talking about this morning. So if you would be so kind to remember that everything that you need to know about the Higher Learning Network and the work that we do here is available on our Instagram page. Well, actually, it's available on the higherlearningnetwork.org. And on there, you will see information that would benefit you. So be sure and check out the resources. Right now, I just want to show you the program, not the program, the work that we do on for the homeless. And if you go to our Instagram page, it's hln.homeless.project. You'll see the work that we do. And I want to thank you for all of you who send in donations. We could not do it without you. There's my hubby, Tony, helping. But you can just take a look at this. This is just a little bit of the work that we do. Let me pull that up for you. What a blessing to be a blessing. She dropped a burger? Oh, no. You're quite welcome. Please tell your buddies to come on down here and get some more. Whatever they want, come on down. Right here off the Kennedy Expressway on Des Plaines Avenue between Roosevelt Road and Taylor. Tax-free deductible donations via higherlearningnetwork.org. Thank you so much for sharing. Share that with you, and then there's lots of videos there, and that's just one of them. You can check them out. And ain't no more what? Yes, it is. Milk and cereal right here. Oh, and thank you, eaachicago.org, for the donations, the donuts, the snacks, the fruit. eaachicago.org. We work with the Chicago Food Depository, and this is just some of the goodies that they gave us. Got milk and cereal, so that was really nice. So just wanted to share that with you. So go to our Instagram page, hln.homeless.project, and you will see all of that information there. Thank you so very much, Deborah Smith, for why is it taking so long to come down? For being a light, to being a conscious person, for helping those in need. And, it just really pisses me off. I hate to say it like that, but it does. Because, all these immigrants are here, and we were born here, and we can't get the services. They're finding them housing, clothing vouchers, food, money. They're going to give them, pay their rent for 3 months. Really? Yeah. Well, question is, what are we going to do about it in a peaceful way at that? So I just wanted to share that with you. And if you are so inclined to donate to the higherlearningnetwork.org, we appreciate you. Oh, thank you, Brother Andrew Nelson Bay, for those sweet potato pies. If you can come, they love the pies because they love something sweet. And someone else donated some. Anyway, excuse me if I can't remember the exact names, but thank you for those donations. We accept donations via PayPal, Venmo. What are the other ones? Lord, you would think I know. Cash App. Lord have mercy. Can't remember. Okay. Cash App is Zelda Speaks. And the number 2. Venmo is Higher Learning Network NFP. Zelle, you have to email me because I have to send you the information. For PayPal, higherlearningnw@yahoo.com. And anytime you can't remember, you can always go to my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com, or you can always call me too. That works too. At on the hotline, which is 312-409-6619. And right about now, we are going to our first break. And when we come back, we will be joined by our very own executive producer, Naimah Latif. She'll be joining us. But in the meantime, in between time, I will share this with you and hope that you share it with someone as well.
You can live to be 120 years old and remain active, healthy, alert, and vibrant. Our bodies are made up of cells that are constantly rejuvenating. So if we take proper care of ourselves, we can literally defy aging. Join us every Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time to learn about self-care from Susan Essentials on the Female Solution Blog Talk Radio Show. Learn how to help your body and yourself feel rejuvenated each day through proper nutrition, sleep, frequency medicine, and many unconventional methods of self-care. I'm Jody Susan. Join me and my amazing guests by calling in at 515-605-9325 and press 1 to speak. We'll help you achieve a breakthrough in your health today. Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace and Restoration of Life transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I am Director Shin-Soo Kim of the HWPL Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email us at chicagohwpl@gmail.com. What happens when a group of people are kidnapped from their homes, smuggled away in chains, and held captive in a foreign land where they are tortured, raped, and forced to perform hard labor by the lash of a whip and under the constant threat of death? Slavery, the African American psychic trauma. What happens to the doctors, writers, scientists, builders, educators, and spiritual leaders from Africa's golden age? Who did they really capture and sell into slavery? Are all African Americans suffering from psychic trauma because of a conspiracy to hide their true identities? Do you have psychic trauma? Take the test on page 22 of the book and see. Order it online today at www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. And get your personally autographed copy of the book, Slavery, the African American Psychic Trauma.
Grand Rising, and thank you for joining us back here on the Female Solution and the Higher Learning Network TV show, which airs Tuesdays at 6, Wednesdays at 1 on Channel 19, and 24/7 on our YouTube channel that you're watching right now, Higher Learning TV show. And thank you so much, Clara Hubbard, my senior talk with Clara Hubbard, watching from Indianapolis, Indiana. Good morning, my beloved Zelda. Good morning, my beloved Clara. Thank you so much for joining the conversation this morning. It is an honor to be among the living this morning, because as a child coming up, I was told you don't want to get old. And now that I am a seasoned citizen, I'm very grateful to know this young woman because of the work that she's doing for seniors. I applaud you. Yes, my sister, keep up the good work, because somebody has to look out for us, because the children, maybe not so much. So I just thought I would share that with you. Thank you. And if you're watching, and we know you are, feel free to type in what city, state, or country that you're watching us from. It has come to my attention that which most of what we do in life, we've been programmed. And from my days working in secular radio, well, actually I was working at Gospel Radio 1390, the AM channel for WGCI. And every Monday morning at 9 o'clock, there's a sales meeting. And there's also a meeting with the program director. And they get together to put a list together. As already the list was done the week before. because people plan out 20 years. When we plan a week ahead, they're planning 20 years for us. Okay. But my point is that they have programs in place for us to listen to. And we wonder why you hear that song and it's like, oh, that's my song. Yeah, because we've been programmed to hear that over and over again. And that's my song. There's nothing wrong with it. Because, we all got a song. But the fact is, I just want you to be aware of how programming is affecting us. And that's why we still have issues in our tissues. And this is from my very first book, The Passion Principles. Yeah, notice the high top fade. Yeah, I figured you would. Okay. Anyway, I wrote this book in 1997 and I dedicated The Passion Principles, Pathways for Purpose, Power, and Profit. I dedicate that to the readers because we are under the spell or rule, if you want to call it, of the channels that we watch. And they put my book, the Library of Congress, put my book in the occult section. I was like, why would they do that? Then it dawned on me that there's information in here that will take you out of the programming that you're currently in. It's a process. It don't happen overnight. But they don't want you to be in control of your thoughts. They want you to use the program thoughts that you've been trained with. Go to school, get a job, go to school, get an education, get a good job. That's over with. That's history, honey. People are not doing that anymore. They are staying at home and doing what they do with their natural God gifts and talents and abilities. So, but let me share with you. This is from chapter 2, which starts at page 39. But I want to read to you from page 42. We have to know what's acceptable in our lives, what we can live with, and what we can't live without. I accept the fact that I will probably won't always have the latest technology and PCs to meet my needs. I can live with that. But as I become more aware of the conditioning, the programming that already exists in my life, I have to ask myself the question, is this something I need or is this something I want? If it's not a need, like a basic survival need, food, clothing, shelter, everything else is a desire, a programmed desire, no less. So let's go to the chapter that talks about, the same chapter. This section is called Programmed for Programming the Programmer. Huh? Okay. Just for you and I, the few, the proud, and the programmed. Case scenario. A young girl grows up in a foreign country, brought here by her ancestors to live among the new foreigners. None of the people that she came in contact with outside of her family environment look, speak, or act like she. While growing up, she goes to the local school where she has to contend with being called out of her name because she doesn't have pretty clothing, long, flowing, curly hair, or candy money, let alone lunch money. She's lucky to be in school at all. The young girl is afforded conditional acceptance based on how she fits with the program. This program was already in high gear upon her arrival, and the fact that she was allowed to maybe fit in was further programming. As she grew older and saw less and less of images in the media that depicted what she saw in the mirror on a daily basis, she began to dislike herself even more because she did not fit the mold, the model, or the program. She carried these images with her well into her adult years. She had a family, a little girl, and like she once was herself, and now the cycle continues. The programmed gets to be the programmer. She will program her children, who in turn will program their children. The saga of programming continues. The cycle doesn't stop until someone who is not as programmable stops and maybe scrambles the channels without the assistance of a programmer. One way to do that is to limit yourself from artificial stimuli. What is artificial stimuli? You're on it right now. And that's to say, not all programming is bad, but you have to be selective in your programming. Last paragraph. Everything you usually listen to or watch on television is fictitious. Their story, his story, and really does more damage than it does good. And we all hooked on Netflix, Prime, or somebody. Try doing just the opposite. If you've always watched the evening news, turn off the television and read a chapter from a book. What? Read a book? They still make books? Yeah. If you stop to think for a moment, what did you really miss? If it's something you really needed to know, someone will call you and tell you about it all the time. People ask me, "You didn't hear about such news?" No, you don't watch the news? No, because I know somebody gonna tell me about it. Why I gotta watch this madness? Or you're likely to hear about it in a conversation the next day anyway. I digress. If what you heard did not help you in a way to enhance your life, you were better off without it. The probability of your hearing something on the evening news that will enhance the quality of your life is slightly less than your chance of winning the lottery without a lottery ticket. And that's not going to happen, right? So I just want you to think about how the programs that you currently have, and it goes on, it's on page from 45 to 47. It's a whole, I break it down. I'll put it to you like that. And the next chapter talks about Elroy Smith, program director, my former boss at WGCI. And there's a lot of stories in here from Mary Mitchell. Mary Mitchell was the reason why I included her in the book, because she told the story of how she was working right across the street from the Chicago Sun-Times as a secretary, and she wasn't happy. And she says, "I need to be a journalist at the what." Just read the book; you'll understand. And unfortunately, it's not available in print anymore. This is my last book, and I'm not giving it away, but I am going to put it on Kindle, so you can always hit me up, higherlearningnetwork.org, and if you would like to get a copy of it, and I will share that information with you. But right now, I want to share information with you from our executive director as I look at a couple of comments here. Excuse me. My sister from another mister, Vieta Robinson, says, "Grand Rising, sister. I love the wisdom you're sharing. So important for these days of confusion and deception." Yes, confusion and deception is what is on the agenda. This part of the programming, remember, to keep us in a state of chaos and confusion. If you did not see Soul Purpose Healing last night, I'm not going to say shame on you, because we're not in the shame and blame business. But I am going to say that you deserve to hear what was said last night, because it will make you rethink a whole lot of things that's going on in your mind, especially if you are not not in favor of this world war that's going on in the world where people are dying. Oh, it just makes me sick. I digress. Anyway, let us welcome to the stage the executive producer of the Female Solution, and we refer to her as Naimah. Latif. Take it away, sister, my sister from another mister.
Well, grand rising, everybody. And once again, we welcome you to Monday Morning Mindfulness. This is a great opportunity for us to really help people evolve. And if this fan is a little bit loud, I'm gonna turn it off.
Yeah, because you got the fan on and I got the heat on. But you have wool on too. I try to dress in something real.
Yeah, I'm trying to be cute here and here on these hot lights burning.
Looking like a panther, getting ready to go do
something. I
know.
had to look on today.
I love
it. This is really a time for us to come out of that state of fear, which is how we're manipulated. When people are quick to react and support aggressive actions towards somebody else, it's because they've been programmed, like you say, to fear somebody. They've been programmed to think that someone else is dangerous and needs to be controlled or contained or eliminated. So this programming, it is a lifelong thing, especially since the television age, where we see images that tell us how to think. So now that we have the power to create our own images, the most basic cell phone gives you the power to take pictures, take videos, even edit videos. You can tell your own story. And you can send it out to thousands and thousands of people. So now that we have the power to do that, we have to have the awareness to do it consciously and deliberately, just as it was done to us, just like you just pointed out. These things don't happen accidentally. Those who want to maintain power and control consciously decide what they want to have us think so that we'll respond in the way they want us to respond. And if you wonder who's behind things, just follow the money. Who's getting paid? That always answers the question.
Yep.
And when there's a war, the people who get paid are the weapons manufacturers. First and foremost, they sell to both sides. They don't care who wins. As long as the war continues, they get paid. The same people who get paid when the violence erupts in the streets and you have regular civilians, not part of an army, just part of the citizenry that has been pushed to a point of panic, and they start arming themselves, or they start to commit acts of crime out of fear that they're not going to be able to survive. And then you have people who become fearful and demand more police. So then we got to manufacture more weapons. The same people are getting paid from our conflict. We have to have the wisdom to choose not to be in conflict. That's why I was so pleased to hear the story of the people who created the school in which both the Israelis and the Palestinian children are attending. This school that is designed to teach them to grow up as friends so that they will not be able to be manipulated into going to war against each other. We need more of that. We need more schools that teach peace, harmony, unity, and oneness. We're one earth. We're one family. And when we inject that into our education, both in the home and outside the home, all of this madness will end. We'll stop the money flow going to the weapons manufacturers. We'll stop the manipulation being paid to by the mass media, being disseminated by the mass media because they're paid by those who are getting paid from the spread of war. And we'll stop this whole cycle of violence and destruction. We now have the power to do that. So we just have to choose to do it. And the more pain we endure, the more we're going to choose to do that, because war isn't fun. It's not fun being shot. It's not fun being stabbed. It's not fun being blown to bits. So why are we doing that? It's not fun. So let's use our God-given intelligence and choose to make peace among people who've been manipulated to hate each other. Via the show. And again, we urge you to go in the archives if you didn't hear it live and listen to how you have people who are programming children to hate other children who they don't know, never seen, but they're giving them images. This is the enemy. You must prepare yourself to fight them and be a hero. All this programming. We need to stop that because it's not going to benefit us at all. And because we're one earth, if you bomb a part of the earth, we're all breathing that same air. Didn't you learn something from COVID? We all breathe in the same air. If you poison one part of the earth, everybody dies because everybody's breathing the air that circulates every day. The earth turns in a circle, all the air that you poison, eventually you're going to breathe it yourself. So is it intelligent to hurt anybody else? You can't without hurting yourself. These are the principles we have to teach our children and override what the warmongers are teaching so they can keep making money off of our fear. We have the power to do that. So let's use our power and change this world to the way it should be.
Because that power lies in us. We've been taught to think that power comes from them out there.
Right.
Something out there. Power is in here. And like you said, it's all a choice.
It's a choice. It's a choice.
You choose to believe what you believe.
Yes.
Sometimes, as Dr. Bruce Lipton said, those beliefs make issues in your tissues.
Yes.
Just like the conversation we had about the cotton chopping, chopping cotton, sharecropping issue. We having that conversation, and I was like, I can't believe this. I just had a reaction. You know, thoughts going on in my head. It's like you and Beata, none of the others know what's going on in my head. And I was like, wow, I'm having a reaction, but I didn't have a reaction. I just sat with the thought of the discomfort that I received back in the day.
Right.
So how is it that something that happened 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago, how is that still affecting me today? Ooh, baby.
Yes.
You wonder why you act the way you act. You wonder why you do the things you do, because possibly you haven't sat down long enough to try to figure out what's going on within, why you feel the way you feel. One of the people that I listen to, that Beata also listens to, and that's why I found out about Dr. Bruce Lipton, and also Dr. Gabor Mate. He's a medical doctor, but he's also a psychologist. And the things that he teaches, I'll post that information on my blog later, zeldaSpeaks.wordpress.com. So do yourself a favor and keep in mind that what you're learning here today, share it with somebody, because we're all under the same spell, and we're trying to see our way out of this madness.
Yes.
Because it's this madness that'll keep us in a place we don't want to be longer than we want to be there.
Right.
Right.
You gotta realize when you have things inside of you because of what has happened to you, and everything starts in childhood. That's where the foundation for your personality is laid, your memories, and you can spend a lifetime trying to avoid painful memories. That's what a trigger is. That trigger is that recollection of that painful memory that's still hurting you, even though you haven't thought about it in a long time. Now, I had a friend, it was interesting. She's about my complexion. And we were somewhere, and we were about to meet another friend who had not met her before, and I had to leave, and I said, well, let me tell you what she looks like. She's wearing a red blouse, and she got her head wrap on, and she's dark skinned. I'm just talking because I look at myself as dark skinned, right? And she's sitting over at the corner. I'm explaining everything, and the dark skin thing just, it isn't, an additional description. So anyway, we hung up the phone. I'm getting ready to leave. She says, "Why'd you tell her I was dark skinned?" I said, "Well, you're the same complexion as me. I mean, that's dark, right?" "I am not dark skinned." And I'm like, and why are you offended at that? And she was like really angry about that. And I'm thinking, and I said, "Well, what should I have said? I'm brown skinned. I am not dark skinned." And and I'm thinking, why is that a trigger? And I said, "Well, whatever. I mean, she'll find you." I told her what clothes you had, and so I left. And but that stuck with me. I'm thinking, now, why was she angry about that? And then, sometime later, when we had a conversation about it, and she was saying, she grew up around people, I guess, that had what do they call that? Colorism. When, the whole light skin, dark skin thing. And she was telling me about how in her classroom, all the little light skinned girls were always the teacher's pet, and and the dark skinned girls were kind of made fun of and all that sort of thing. And I'm thinking, okay, that is in her memory.
Yes.
And so me referring to her as dark skinned triggered all of that, and she was offended. And I think about how many of us are still carrying the scars of the colorism of our society, because I went through that as well.
We all did,
but
still do.
What helped me undo the damage was when I went away to school and I met African people And a lot of them, some of them got some issues too. But the ones that I met, they loved my dark skin. You know, they thought it was beautiful. You know, all these men trying to take me out. So that erased all of that colorism that I grew up with, and really removed. And I understood that it was programming. I understood that it was brainwashing. I understood that we have gone through psychic trauma because of our physical attributes being treated as if there's something wrong with it. And so when something triggers you, some normal thing someone says or does brings up a feeling of anxiety or, you know, uncomfortableness or even offense, don't look at that other person as if they meant to insult you or say something. Look at yourself and say, why is this a trigger for me? What am I believing about myself that is untrue that this remark is making me feel? Because it's always ourselves. It's never what the other person's doing. It's what we think, what we tell ourselves about what the other person said that makes us upset, especially if their intention was not to insult us or not to make us feel bad or not to recall a hurtful memory or a moment or time in our lives. It just, you know, they're just talking, but we're putting meaning to what they say because of our experience. So this is why we have to examine our experiences and reprogram ourselves so that we're not still responding to things because they remind us of some unhealed hurt that we're still carrying.
And part of the healing, Naimah, is journaling. You have to
write it down. Yeah.
Out of you. It needs to get out of your out of you. And I'm not talking about putting notes on your cell phone or your computer. I'm talking about taking pen and paper with these fingers right here. There is a synchronicity. There is magic that you cannot get from a computer. And it has to come from pen and paper. So you journal. Go to
mind to your hand, from your heart to your hand. Yeah.
And you'll have a different kind of experience. Right now, I want you to have this experience because it's time to go to our next break. If you go to my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com, and you scroll down, you can see today's show, how to transform the triggers in your life. But scroll down to just past the purple sign and just past Marsha Noble, the jazz pacemaker, who had a wonderful event just this past weekend. Did I pass it? I hope I didn't. Nope, there it is right there where it says one click away. That's what I want you to do, is click on that and share it with someone, a comment about the work that we do here on the Higher Learning Network. And after you do that, give yourselves a pat on the back for the good work that you do by sharing the good work. As I leave you with more of the good work that we do and how you can become a part of it here on the Female Solution. And we'll be right. Meditate to activate. That's what it's all about. Thank you for those donations coming in for the homeless. We appreciate them. And that's one of the t-shirts that you can get when you make a donation of $25 or more right here at Tax Deductible on the Higher Learning Network. And we'll be right back.
We have an opportunity to transform the whole global society in the next 50 years. 50 years from now, the earth will be populated by a new generation of adults, many of whom are yet unborn. Our mission is to nurture them in childhood with love, guidance, and protection, and to raise them in healthy, happy families. If we impart values of compassion, generosity, and respect for fellow human beings in the next generation of children, they will create a world where people can live together in peace. This is our goal. Be part of the transformation. Get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. Go to www.naimahlatisse.com. That's www.naimahlatisse.com. Oh man, that's such a wonderful stuff here today. We feel like really expensive, especially going with food. I'll probably have to work overtime to pay it. Well, you gotta pay it on time. We don't want the sun to go out, or we're sitting up here all day in the dark. Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we don't know how to use solar energy, the free energy from the sun. You can convert your local home to solar energy home and save tremendously on your electric bill. Take a look at your electric bill. Wouldn't you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether? Let one of our solar consultants show you how. Call today, 312-849-3456. And schedule a free consultation. That's 312-849-3456.
And thank you for joining us back here on the Female Solution and the Higher Learning Network TV show, which airs Tuesdays at 6, Wednesdays at 1 on Channel 19 and 24/7 on our YouTube channel, Higher Learning TV show. Stop trying to sing, Zelda. You know you can't sing. Anywho, I just want to share this with you. If you would please go, thank you for going to my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com, and go down to the word where it says click, one click here. This is what you will see, the Higher Learning Network under great nonprofits. So if you would be so kind to go there and scroll down the page, and you'll see exactly what we do. Well, you already know the Global Virtual Teen Talent Contest, and now we're teaching podcasting to the students as well, for students and adults. And you will see the comments there, and we would appreciate your comments. So thank you very much in advance. We appreciate that as we continue with the show on how we can transform some of these triggers that we're having. I haven't chopped cotton in 50-something years, so why am I still being triggered by it?
Because that was a very
traumatic
experience.
I had the feelings of abandonment because I was sent south to live with an aunt. My brother was in Vietnam. They had to bring him home because my mom was dead. And his wife had just graduated with her master's in teaching. She didn't want children. She wanted her family unit. She didn't want 6, 7 kids to take care of. So I don't blame her for that. I understand that. I didn't at the time, but I understand it now. So I got all this trauma and drama going on in my head. I'm a little abandoned black baby. Don't nobody want me. I'm going down south to live with people who don't know me. This is my mom's sister who I never met until now. And she's passed. So I got to live with an aunt who has 3 boys. And you wonder why I'm a tomboy. And I put you in a headlock and climb a tree. That's what I was taught. I never had dolls. I don't know anything about that. But baby, I can put you in a headlock. I know that's not ladylike and all that, but that's from the trauma.
That's with your childhood. That's what you learned.
So that's what I learned, and so now y'all know why I beat on my husband. I don't really beat him. I just talk trash. I don't really beat him. I don't put my hands on him. You know how we do.
You better hope you bump his head and be walking around outside with a bandage. You're going to be going, oh, you know what happened to you?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to make light of it, but sometimes you have to laugh in order to keep from crying, because I know some of y'all got the same issues in your tissues that I got in mine too. So we all in this together. So don't ever think you're alone.
Hey, we're all in this together.
Let us know what city, state, or country you're calling from, and what's your trigger. Type in your trigger. Don't have to be yours. Just type in a trigger, and we'll talk about it.
Yes. The word trauma, and we've defined it in our book, psychic trauma.
Yes.
From earlier, trauma is a severe emotional shock having a deep, often lasting effect on the personality. And when you think of how a death of a person can affect you profoundly, such as the death of a parent, I mean, that changes your whole life. That changes your sense of identity. You know, the death of a sibling, you know, all the things that surround that, your feelings of sadness, perhaps even guilt, you know, if there's any way that you think you might have caused it, you know, even the death of a pet, you know, a trusted animal companion. It can have an impact on you, especially in childhood when we haven't been taught how to process grief, how to understand the transitions of life or any of that. And often people will not talk to children about someone passing. So they just kind of let you handle it however you got to handle it. And then you're shuffled around. Your whole life is uprooted. Nobody asks you how you feel about it. So it's all of those things that you feel as a child that nobody talks to you about. And, you know, wasn't until recently that they would even think to send school counselors to the school if a tragedy happened. You know, whether it's a national tragedy, such as what was that space shuttle that blew up in the air, and children were watching that. You know, it was traumatizing because you realize we're watching people die. That was traumatizing them. So they thought to send counselors to the school to talk to the children. Before that time, you know, most of the time they just let children hear about deaths and destruction and didn't say anything. And children are living in fear and they're distressed and all that. Nobody thought, oh, we need to counsel them. They need therapy. They are traumatized. So now recently, because we've had awful things such as school shootings and everything, people realize children are living day to day with trauma. They're hearing the news and parents don't think, I probably shouldn't let my 3-year-old sit here and watch people being blown up on the TV. You know, they don't think of that. They sit there and they're entertained by awful things, by violence. They let their children see it. It's traumatizing. And we're not realizing it. And then let real life violence happen to somebody they know. Of course, that's traumatizing. A death of somebody. And don't ever tell your child, oh, well, grandma's just sleeping. And your child seeing them put the top of the casket over her face. And they're thinking, why? But grandma can't breathe. I mean, so we have to learn how to help children deal with the traumas of life, the traumas of the transition from this physical life, and how to help them through the grief process. We often don't do that. And so that's why it becomes a trauma that affects us. And so the fact that your cotton picking experience, your and the whole sharecropping environment where you were sent is connected to the trauma of your mother's passing, the feelings of abandonment. It's connected to all of that. So even a cotton ball could trigger all of that memory that's connected to that.
Cotton ball did when I went to Dollar Tree and saw the little balls of cotton for $1. I was like, oh my God. It's like I panicked when I saw it. I was like, no, they are not selling cotton for a damn $1 in Dollar Tree. Mm-hmm. Yes, they are. So you need to get over it. And getting over it was my process of talking about it and writing about it. And you just can't tell this to anybody unless you're walking down the street and you're just talking to people and they think you're crazy, but that's okay too, because you need to get it out of you. Yeah. So that's important. So I journaled about it. I write something every day. That's part of my morning meditation. And you got to talk about it because you need to examine why you still feel the way that you feel. I now realize I feel the way that I feel because that was how I felt at the time, and I didn't have any power over that situation. But I have power in my mind right now to dissolve that and understand that was something that took place then. And in the words of Layla Hathaway, that was then, this is now. Yeah. I don't have to carry that with me the rest of my life. But I pulled your book up here, Naimah, Slavery, the African-American Psychic Trauma. This is the book that's available on Amazon. Yeah. And did I see a price of $103?
Well, you know, just go to my website and order it because Amazon is taking advantage of the temporary time when the book was just about sold out everywhere after my husband passed away. But you can get it at the regular price right on my website, www.naimahLatif.com. That's www.naimahLatif.com. Just go to the books page and place your order. And we are also making available the audiobook form as well as the Kindle version. And we're going to be going on a book tour next year to really deal with the traumas that we still have. This racial thing in our society, we have got to resolve that. And I agree with what Trevor Noah said, about in South Africa, when they got rid of apartheid, they had a Truth and Reconciliation Council where they had people, talk openly about what they had done, the harsh things that were done, admitting them, the people who had suffered it being able to express their upset and their anxiety about it. And you have to begin the healing process. We have not done that in this country. And so there is still a lot of anxiety, a lot of anger, a lot of hurt, a lot of fear when it comes to racial relationships. And we have got to get a point of normalcy where we can coexist and as African Americans, not the recent immigrants who may have experienced colonialism but did not experience the disruption of their family lineage. The African Americans, those born here and who've been here for generations, are still carrying the trauma of every single era of abuse that we experienced here, from the laws being created that kept us as a permanent underclass, to the housing laws, the educational laws, and the social systems, all of those things that were designed to make us feel like we were less than worthy of human respect. And all of us have memories of childhood experiences where we were made to feel bad, connected to our racial identity, and we're still carrying the trauma from that. And there are so many whites who are experiencing fear because if they lived through the riots of the 60s and the times when we exploded and rage, they know that rage is just under the surface. And so they're always believing we need to be controlled by a strong police force because we're subject to be violent and we're criminal. So they've been fed that programming. So you have two groups of people pitted against each other, pretty much like the Israelis and the Palestinians, believing in some places that these are permanent enemies. There are no permanent enemies. They're permanent interests, but certainly all of us, our interest is basically to live and be at peace, to be able to enjoy our families and enjoy the place where we live and send our children to school so they can learn things that will help them develop into the wonderful people they were meant to be. All of us want the same things. So we have to undo the programming that makes us fear each other and hate each other. And we're all traumatized until we do that.
Yep.
So you have people that are coming into the country now, the recent immigrants, and what happens is they end up being infected by the programming. Their ancestors weren't part of the slave history, but if they're white, even coming from Eastern Europe, which in Eastern Europeans weren't involved in that at all.
No.
But they come here to America and they learn racism. They learn fear. They learn hatred because it's part of the programming and the mass media that keeps playing these images of Black people as fearful and dangerous and violent and criminal. So they learn to fear. And when they get into positions of authority anywhere, whether it be the police or in the hospitals or as a clerk in a bank, anything, the attitude is often very disrespectful because of their programming. People aren't born racist. They're not born angry. They're not born mean. They learn that behavior. So we have to stop teaching it. And with Black people, what we continue to reinforce is an idea of helpless victim, angry that other people are somehow, we're believing, given opportunities that we're not given. Yes, there is racism, but right now we are in such a position of power, and often we're not using that power because of our programming, that our success depends on other people approving of us. And we talk about that in the book Psychic Trauma, believing at this stage in our lives that our success is dependent on being approved of by white people. That is incorrect. No one owns this world except the creator of this world. And when we stop thinking that we have to be socially accepted, then we don't do ignorant things like, chemicalize our hair until we end up having it fall out and affect our brain cells. And of course, we did a show on that with the hair situation. All of these things that we're doing out of fear that we won't be accepted by a group of people that we've been programmed to believe have power over us. That has to be undone, because we're still carrying the trauma of the times when people wouldn't let you into a job unless you had your hair straightened, or wouldn't allow you certain basic public dignity if you weren't a certain shade of lighter skin. All of these things, just like my friend was triggered when I described her as dark skinned. So we're still carrying a lot of that, but we have the power to erase it. And that's what we have to do. Face it, erase it, and replace it.
Oh, love it. Face it, replace it. Say that again.
Face it, erase it, and replace it.
Face it, replace it, and erase it. I love it.
Face it, erase it, and replace it.
And how do you face it? I face it with a journal. How do you face it?
I probably do what I would consider maybe a verbal journal. I talk to myself a lot.
Okay. I'm so glad you said that. See, because people think when they talk to themselves, they're crazy. I totally disagree with it. I think
I have conversations
you have all the answers. You were born with them, but they beat it out of us with programming, radio, TV, not this radio and TV show, but radio, TV, your appliances, all of that. It beat you until you start believing the nonsense. We've got some comments here before we take our next break, and it says, Queen Danae, is that Danae or Deny? Trauma and Drama. I think you just gave me a new song title. All right, girlfriend. Well, you got to come here on the Solution and sing it. That's right. I love it. Trauma and Drama, because we had trauma and drama in our communities all day, every day. All we have to do is just ride down the street with a box of popcorn, because baby, it's just like we got so much drama, and we tell each other we crazy for talking to each other. No, you're not. You need to get it out of you. Yes. You're not crazy for talking to yourself. You need to get it out. She says, I'm watching from Houston, Texas. Thank you, sis. Queen Danae. Is that Danae or Deny? I asked that question because when I was a producer at Smooth Jazz, WNUA 95.5, there was a lady by the name of Deny Alexander. So I'm wondering, is your name Deny or Danae? So
how did she spell hers? The
I didn't remember. That was so long ago. I don't even remember. But I just thought about that when I saw that. Now the Queen also says one of my triggers is being ignored when I'm trying to communicate. Oh, really now? All right, Naimah.
I can imagine where that comes from. Because how many times have we been ignored in childhood? When you're trying to say something and your opinion doesn't matter, or you're told to shut up. How often are we told to shut up? And when you are a child and you are trying to say something and you're slapped or reprimanded just for expressing an opinion, which may disagree with what the adult said, but you're a human being. You have a right to speak. But what's worse even than that is when people just act like you're not even there. You don't matter and you're ignored. And we talked about this a little bit last week when we talked about, your children needing therapy. When children throw a tantrum, that is an expression of frustration and not being able to be heard, not being able to be understood.
Mm.
People not recognizing them, and so it's a burst of just explosion of frustration. But people will look at a child throwing a tantrum and say, "Oh, they're so spoiled. They can do that.
Exactly.
Their way. You let them do that," and they're not understanding. That is the explosion, just like the Watts riot. That was our tantrum. We exploded. You're not listening to us. You're starving us. You're treating us like animals, worse than animals. You're brutalizing us, not letting us have basic dignity and food to eat and clothes to wear, a place to stay. And we got all this wealth around us. You're throwing in our face on the TV set, but you're saying we can't have access to any of it. And we exploded. And so you got the riots. And every time we get to that point of frustration where we're not being heard, we explode. What happened after the George Floyd killing? All of the police brutality situations. You're not listening to us. We're saying that you see the police as these heroes. We're experiencing them as these deadly killers. And we're afraid to even drive our cars. We might get stopped and shot for trying to reach for a driver's license. And it keeps happening and happening and happening. You're not listening. So we exploded. So when people explode, it's a result of not being heard. You're not listening to me. And so, yes, it's a very strong trigger for a lot of people because we've experienced being ignored.
So how do you handle that?
You got to be able to speak and get people to listen without you losing control of yourself. And self-mastery is one of the things we're all striving to learn from life experience. It's a very challenging thing to learn, but you must master your emotions so that you are not triggered into behaving as your worst self, which is violent, angry, destructive, and being able to get people to listen, whether it's calling a meeting with people. And sometimes you gotta do that in your family. You gotta have a family meeting, a meeting with your parents, meeting with your children, meeting with your siblings, and be able to set an example of how to talk about things. Now, my way of doing it, I'm a writer. So sometimes when I get overwhelmed and I can't speak and I know I'm going to be so angry, I'll start crying. Because when I start crying, that means that, I've reached my limit and I'm angry, frustrated. And the crying comes right before the violence. Mm-hmm. So I know that that's what's inside of me. So I strive not to get to that point where I'm overwhelmed and explode. So what I will do is write a letter.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
That helps me put it in words. And sometimes I have to write it and rewrite it and read it, because you never want to send a letter that you've written while you're angry. You want to read the letter over and then maybe change some of the words so that they're not trigger words that you're saying to someone else. You want to be able to explain in such a way that helps them empathize with what you're going through. Maybe use some examples that they can relate to. And really seek to bring peace, not so much as to hurt them the way they hurt you, because that used to be what I would do when that's not helpful.
Of course.
You just end up in a battle back and forth. But what you want to do is bring things to a level of peace where you both can understand each other's point of view and make a decision in which everyone benefits and nobody feels injured. That takes some self-mastery, because you got to be able to put your ideas in words. One of the reasons why some people get so upset, if they haven't learned how to write and they can't express themselves verbally, they haven't learned how to speak and they can't get the words out. That's why they erupt in violence. This is why, when you send your children to school and they're supposed to learn how to use the language to their benefit and they don't learn how to use it, then and we know this, women have mastered verbal skills. You have an argument with your husband and you get all these words and you're talking a mile a minute. He can't get a word and he can't even think of the words to say. What will happen? A lot of times a man, if he has not mastered himself, will turn violent because he doesn't have the words to express his thoughts, and he's frustrated. He can't say things the way you can say it. And we have mastered this verbal thing because this is our offense. So we know how to say words to disarm you, to destabilize you, to destroy you. We know how to do that.
Yes.
Because this is how we had to survive. So when you know how to use words, then you have to learn how to use them effectively to bring peace and to bring understanding, to bring empathy, to bring understanding. And that's one way we can do it. The frustration comes when you've done all you can in using words and examples and peace, and people still ignore you. That's the challenge that we're facing right now in this society. Trying to make things fair and just, and having government officials or leadership or people who have corporate business interests ignore us because they're focused on how they're going to make some money. And that's when we know we have to take power out of the hands of those who have abused it and put it back in our own hands. We have to be self-governing in ways that we can. We can organize our blocks to make sure we keep the peace so that we're not calling outside people. We create respectful relationships so that we can trust each other and not have to fear calling in an outside force that might brutalize us because of their fear, because they've been programmed to react in fear. We can form food co-ops where we're sharing our food and cooperatively buying so that we don't have to fear being taken advantage of by grocery stores that buy it, that sell us old spoiled food or don't have enough fruits and vegetables and those kinds of things. I mean, there are many different. We can grow our own food. We're going to be talking about food cooperative and
pandemic farms coming up after the break.
Our pandemic farms operations so that people can be empowered to grow their own food. So you don't have to depend on people making you fear that you could be starved or denied food if anything happens, if the banks collapse and all of that. So now's the time for us to create systems that put the power in the hands of the people so that we don't have to be frustrated when we're ignored, because we've been ignored for a long time. So that's a sign it's time to take control of our own lives, our own resources, our own well-being, our own health, our own wellness. It's our responsibility. We have to take back our power and never give it away again.
Because we're in control, and we have to remind ourselves of that. And one of the ways to do that is to get quiet and go within, because that's where the answers are. The answer's not here. It's not on the TV. It's on the Female Solution in the Higher Learning Network.
That's right.
So we're going to take our last break here. Hope you're enjoying the show. Enjoy and share this with someone, because somebody somewhere is going through the same thing. I'm trying to dodge the sun here. I'm loving the sun, but you can't see it. I got to get up and close it and turn the heat off, because now I'm sweating bricks in here. But before we go, I just want to share this with you. For those who have been watching the show, you know the work that we do. And if you'd like to make a donation to higherlearningnetwork.org, it's available. All you have to do is tax free.
Hi, I'm Naimah, executive producer of the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. We are a part of the online network of Associated Internet Radio hosts. On Air. On Air empowers you with transformative news and interactive radio TV shows. This is such a wonderful time to be alive and to see our human family coming together as one community as a result of that powerful tool, the internet. We can now talk directly to each other all over the world. There's no need for conflict or misunderstanding. There's no need for violence to solve our differences. We can talk to each other face to face until we reach an agreement. On Air offers a fantastic global guide to communicators from all over the world who are using their internet platform to inspire us to strive to be our best selves in order to become the kind, compassionate, loving people we were all born to be. Once we do that, we'll see planet Earth transformed into a place of peace. Subscribe to the recommended YouTube channel, Facebook pages, and podcasts created by these Voices of Enlightenment. On Air provides daily news briefs and a weekly magazine to keep you abreast of events and opportunities. On Air news affiliates in television, radio, and print share information, insights, and interviews with notable personalities. Go to OnAirEverywhere.com for a daily dose of uplifting news. We're on air everywhere, online all the time. Worry about finances, family, health, jobs, relationships. Are you too? People stuck. If you answer yes to any of these questions, help is available. Anyway, you're not alone. It's part of the winning process. And we feel this way because we haven't mastered the voices in your head. Nobody was down to earth as a college working with tools and techniques that you can practice today. It's really food for the soul. Whether you want to learn how not to worry about anything, reverse type 2 diabetes, publish a book, commute your products or servers, or just make us connect. Take advantage of the wheel of the day. Go to wellnesspeace.com or call 212-409-6619. You can promo code Happy Information on just free shipping. That's wellnesspeace.com or 312-409-6619. Stop rolling to break. Visit wellnesspeace.com.
And we're transforming triggers this morning on the blogtalkradio.com, the Female Solution, and the Higher Learning Network TV show. What are your triggers? That's what we need to know. But before we do, I just got a text from Khalid Scott, our quarterly guest on the show, mental health physician, a clinician. He just sent me a text. I've lost another friend, 5 total this year. His name is Quan Jackson, African-American who has survived stage 3 male carcinoma, breast cancer, and stomach cancer. And he is no longer with us. He committed suicide. And I was like, another brother. And then
that is devastating.
He shows me a picture. I know you all can't see it. I'll post it. He's doing his daughter's hair. I mean, just I know you can't see that, but I just
a little bit. Yes.
Yeah. Another man going, we can't lose any more men. See, we gotta talk about this.
We do.
We gotta get it out. You can't hold that in because that's what's causing suicide. You do damage to yourself. You don't really want to do damage to yourself. You just want to get rid of the pain, and you can't get rid of the pain until you have the experience of being uncomfortable. And sometimes being uncomfortable can help you get where you need to be, because being comfortable is sometimes not the best way to be. It is in the uncomfortableness that you'll have a different kind of experience, and you may be able to see things differently, especially if you're writing them down. Denise Jones, author of Who Said It Couldn't Be Done? My girl who had made a play out of the book, okay? And it was at the Deschamps Museum. Thank you so much, Denise. She's on another project too, so I'll keep you posted on that. Thank you for sharing that. If you'd like to share your comments, you can call in at 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak and tell us what your trigger is. We only got 20 minutes.
Before we go to the phone, just real quick. I'm trying to get some callers, but sometimes things can be done to you subliminally and you don't even realize it.
Yes, say that.
Because now I noticed, well, this is what happened with some friends and I, there's a sound that, especially with this Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So we see a lot of shows about terrorism and Muslim terrorists and all of that. And when they go to these countries, they will show it with the sound that you hear often in Muslim countries, which is a call to prayer. And just like you hear church bells ringing, where for Muslims, it's a vocal sound. It's like a song, and it's played. That it's sung. During the prayer times. 5 times during the day they play this call to prayer. So when they show these Muslim countries, you will hear that sound. And so I was talking to a friend of mine, and as a matter of fact, this past Saturday, HWPL had a thing about music in your scripture and so forth. And we were talking about the fact that the prayers are meant to be recited melodiously, so they're actually a song. It's like singing to God. Mm-hmm. So a friend of mine was looking at. We were watching a movie, and and again they brought that up. They showed the Muslim community. I think they even talking about the Palestinian conflict, and then you heard the call to prayer in the background. She goes, "Oh, what's that terrorist sound?" And I'm like, "Really?" And because that's what she had come to associate that sound, which is actually like a gospel, so it's a call to prayer, and it's melodiously sung, and you hear it all the time. But Americans, and I've heard other Americans say that too, when they hear that call to prayer that the Muslims say every day, they have been programmed to hear that and feel fear because they associate it as that terrorist sound. And I thought, wow, that's some deep programming. Wow. And have come to hear the call to prayer, something sacred, something so supposed to be beautiful and melodious, and bring you to God. They have been programmed because of the media to hear that as that terrorist sound.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. See how subliminal it is, and you don't even know it. And you wonder why you feel the way you feel, think the way that you do. It's because what you listen to every day, what you participate in every day. You want something different, you got to do something outrageous. No, you don't do something different. You got to do something outrageous. Like don't cut on your phone until noon.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't let it program you with the worst things happening in the world so that you can be depressed all day. Right. We got some callers. I know the folks got something to say.
Yes. So we're going to open up the lines. And when you call in, we need to know what your triggers are. So we're going to take a call from 407-701. You are live on the Female Solution. What's your name and where you're calling from? And what is your trigger? If you'd like to share that.
Grand Rising, ladies. This is Beata in Orlando, Florida.
Hey,
Beata.
As a so-called Black woman, my trigger as a young woman was always being called high yellow.
Uh-huh.
Or in my elementary school, Casper, the Friendly Ghost. Remember that cartoon?
Oh, yeah.
I had more hostility from Black women, dark-skinned women in my neighborhood, dark-skinned girls. I won't call them women, they were girls. Mm-hmm. So what that did for me was I was sensitive to the energy of dark-skinned girls and women as I grew up because I would be triggered by the hostility that would come from these dark-skinned faces many times. My friends were mostly, growing up in Hyde Park, which is a very diverse racial community. Most of my friends were mulattoes or mixed characters. They were light skinned, so I felt safe among my lighter skinned so-called Black women or white women. But I didn't get into that hostility, especially in Hyde Park, where there was a high level of education among the children and the parents. So as I grew up, I realized that I kind of stayed strayed away from dark-skinned women. It's just the women more than the men. The men would tease me maybe about the Casper, but the black dark-skinned women, high yellow, you high yellow girl, you got the colorism, I think it's called.
Prism, yes.
So now I'm just very in tune with energy of women, period, and men. And that energy, because I remember the energy of those women more than anything, how it was like, ooh, you yellow, high yellow, or that. So now I'm just in tune with that. And I might try and, set up a conversation with women like that, or just ignore them because there's not a willingness to have a conversation or to be friends or any of that. It was like a time of learning for me all my life, really, about energy, because I would feel, that's what the trigger is. You feel something from your past that made you feel uncomfortable and made you resist that person or that energy. So I want to encourage my sisters to check themselves in that area if they're still thinking high yellow girls are better than me or white girls are better than me. That's where I think a lot of the triggers for my sisters is going back to slavery or, your book, The Trauma for Slavery, is looking at the color of your sisters. We're not talking about white folks, we're just talking about the colors, different colors in the black community.
Yes, ma'am.
And then if we can heal that, we really want to be doing something.
Right.
So, yeah, I just had to share that because my experience is just so different from women. But you have it.
Yeah.
I hope that helps my sisters to be more aware of the triggers that they have when they're in the company of either white or light skin or whatever. We got to transform that and appreciate the diversity that we have.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much for calling and sharing that, Beata, because I know you're not the only one. There's some things that we just don't talk about, and that's one of them. Classism, colorism, sexism, all the isms. So thank you so much for calling and sharing that, because the world will beat us down enough. We don't have to beat each other down. Our mission is to uplift, and that's what we do here.
We've been pitted against each other on purpose. And just like my friend who was upset being called dark skinned, she remembered how the lighter skinned girls in school would always be treated well, and teachers and treated them nice, and was kind of mean to the little dark girls. So we've been pitted against each other, even sometimes with men, saying, well, you get you a light skinned girl and making the dark skinned girls feel ugly and all that. So we have been pitted against each other on purpose. We have to undo that social engineering and create a sisterhood that is absent of colorism. That's a challenge, but we have to do that.
And we have to start right where? Right here.
Right here.
I'm going to leave your line open, Viata, as we take another call. 312-632-9644. You are live on the Female Solution. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what is your trigger? Your mic is open. Unmute yourself. Okay, we will go to the next caller, which is 7. Oops, I'm sorry. I just disconnected. I apologize. 312-882. You're live on the Female Solution. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your trigger?
Grand Rising, and assalamu alaikum to you, beloved.
Minister Plum. Grand Rising. What's your trigger, Minister Plum?
Yes, this is Minister Plump from Chicago, Illinois.
What's your trigger?
Thank you very much for asking, too. My trigger is numbers don't lie, people lie. And that triggers me is the lies that people tell. Take for example, that people told the biggest lie in the world to me. Jesus said you should know the truth and the truth should set you free. And as a result, Jesus Christ is a black man. He is not a Caucasian. And that's one of the biggest lies in the world that have triggered me. So as a result, we are promoting peace, which is peace, love, unity, marketing people. And I remember Mayor Washington said.
So, Minister Plump, I have a question for you. So, how do you react? What do you do when you are triggered by those words?
When you see the pictures and all that, the Caucasian pictures in our churches, how do you respond? Do you say something to the pastor, or just, do you not go to that church if they got a Caucasian face? What do you do?
Well, thank you very much for asking. First, I learned to be cool and don't be no fool. To be cool is to be relaxed. And I've learned that the most successful people is people that are relaxed, no matter if they're black, white, red, brown, or yellow.
Okay, so what do you do to relax yourself? We need to know what the technique is, Reverend Minister Plump. What technique do you use? What do you do to bring yourself out of that alarm state when you're triggered? What do you do?
Well, I take a deep breath, first of all.
Okay.
Then I relax because I've self-determined that information, and I thank God for the female solution, because you all got information. And the information is the key to success, breeds success. And education is the best. Not only, information that comes through you all, and I really would like to do a collaboration with you, Sister Zelda.
Okay.
Sister Naimah.
We will work on that. We will work on that offline. But we got a couple of calls we got to take.
Something that he mentioned about that trigger, because that's a common thing, especially because racial images have been used to get us to acquiesce to being mistreated.
Yes.
And so that still is a very sensitive thing for the church community today.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to resolve that, particularly because when religion is weaponized in the way it has been, then the teachings of the man we know as Jesus never come to the surface when those teachings were meant to heal the conflict in the human family. But it does not have that effect because the images have been misused to justify this class system based on color. And too many of us have agreed to it, which is why we're guilty of the colorism that Beata mentioned and that I've observed happen. And we have to heal that. We have to, first of all, be historically correct, but then understand that what the real message was about our souls and learning how to love. That is the underlying message. That is the message that will heal. That is the message that all spiritual teachings have if we would simply follow them.
Sakim, am I pronouncing that right? Sakim Goddess says, "What's up, Queens? Grand rising to you too, my goddess. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Female Solution. We've only got about 4 minutes left because the show ends. There is no after show today. I've got an appointment, and unfortunately, I won't be able to stay. Go ahead, Naimah.
Yes, I think we have. Did we have another one? Oh, that's right. Pride. I think they had stepped away from their phone.
Yeah, they stepped away, and I guess maybe they're not coming. Anyway, we need to wrap. It's 8:54. We got 3 minutes. If you've got anything that you would like to put in the comment section about what triggers you, maybe we can help you with that quickly before we leave. We got about 3 minutes here.
If you're not watching, go to Zelda Speaks. We've also shared this on the Female Solution Facebook page, and you can go to Higher Learning TV show on YouTube. Yeah, all those platforms. And we're always going to be on multiple platforms because there's some people who don't do Facebook, some people who don't do, this one or that one, but we're always going to make sure that you can see and hear us on multiple platforms and share it with all of your networks, because we now have the power to overpower the other networks that have been programming us for decades and making us hate fear each other centuries. This thought that some people are better than others or more worthy than others, this programming, this mistreatment of groups of people based on where they come from or how they look or what language they speak or what their religion is, we've been allowing this for too long. So now we have within our hands the power to deprogram and reprogram, to put forth truth that empowers, that sets us free, like Minister Plum said.
We waking up. Thank you, Minister Plum.
So we have to bring that truth to the human family. We are one. We are all the same importance. No one is better than anyone else. No one is more valuable than anyone else. We are all expressions of the one creator, and all of us play a role on this earth. And so all of us are of equal importance. We have to know that about ourselves, and we have to treat ourselves and others as if we know this, because this is in fact the truth that all of the great wisdom teachers and spiritual masters have brought to us over the millennium. We just have to hear it and live it. That's our challenge. That's our task. That's our reason for being. And that's why we're here every day of the week on the Female Solution, to share our knowledge, wisdom, and understanding so that you may share yours as well and also shine your light.
So be sure and join us tomorrow morning with Jody Susan of Susan Essentials, who will have a show on self-care. It's all about self-care. So Kim got it, says, yes, Lord, one love. And that's what we need, one love, baby. That's why I'm trying to get to Jamaica, so I can get me some one love. And love is nature. I have a husband. Let's keep it straight now. I have a husband.
Get a groove back, yeah.
What I'm going to get is some hot sun and some nature, because we don't have that here. And that's just been my place to go to Jamaica. So I want to be in nature with the trees and the beach and the sand and all that hot, humid. That's what I want to be. Anyway, last but not least, thank you so much for joining us here, Transforming Triggers Part 2. Be sure and go to my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com, so that you can scroll down, and it's about maybe 3-4 down, and where it says help, one click away, I need you to click on that, to the great nonprofits, so that we can become a part of the great nonprofits who are doing the work. So that's all we need to do, is go there and click and say something good about the work that we do at the Higher Learning Network. So that's it. I want to thank you for being a part of this show today, and for sharing this because somebody somewhere needs to hear that, because we all got triggers. It's just a matter of time. See you tomorrow morning. We'll do it all over again. And right now we'll say goodbye in all of the languages that we have here. Thank you for watching, and thank you for sharing, and be sure and share. We appreciate you. Namaste, Hotep, and tune in tomorrow.
We've come to the end of our show today, but you can hear every show in the archives at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution.
It's been too long. You can do the Higher Learning Hit Roll with us.
Oh, yeah. I did it at the...
www.facebook.com/the-female-solution. Leave your comments about today's show. You can always reach me on my website at naimahalatif.com, www.naimahalatif.com. Watch our TV shows, listen to our radio shows, order our books, and be sure to get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. On behalf of our team, I would like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, India, Zanzibar, Japan, Arigato, Korea,
Kamsahamnida,
Russia,
Spasiba,
Germany,
Danke,
Poland,
Shampoo,
France,
Merci,
Spain,
Gracias,
Italy,
Gracias,
Egypt,
Shukran,
Ghana, Madrid,
Yes.
Nigeria, Mexico,
That's it.
South Africa, Niamanga,
Niamanga.
Senegal, Geret,
Geret.
Kenya, Asante,
Asante.
Israel, Toda,
Toda.
Pakistan, Shukriya, Afghanistan,
Tashakkur.
Saudi Arabia, Shukran,
Shukran.
Assalamu alaikum wa
The Female Solution Global Radio TV show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our
Thank you for
team of hosts
watching.
Monday
We'll
through
see you
Friday,
tomorrow
7 a.m.
morning,
to 9
7
a.m.
till
Central
9
Time.
a.m.
Start your
right
week with
here
Monday
on the
Morning
Female
Mindfulness.
Solution. Thank you for watching, and thank you for sharing. Tune in to Jody Susan of Susan Essentials Self-Sale Care right here on the Female Solution.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV
I'm trying to get this video
invites
to
you
play,
to an
and it
invigorating
is taking its
conversation with our team of
last
hosts
time.
Monday
It
through
does
Friday,
never
7
want to
a.m. to
play.
9 a.m. Central
Why y'all
Time.
don't want to play
Start your
Female
week with
Solution?
Monday
What's up
Morning
with that?
Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks.
Don't you hear me
Tuesdays,
talking to you?
Self-Sell Care
Okay.
with Jody Susan.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was playing. I think your computer wasn't showing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is. It's showing it right now.
Yeah.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Sell Care with Jody Susan. Wednesday,